Welcome to our Backyard Brothers podcast. We've been off for a little while. We did technically have a podcast last week. We just had some technical difficulties that prevented it from being recorded. But we're here and we are recording, I believe.
Yeah, we should be. The
And so,
technical difficulty was my index finger, so.
so, but we are here and we're going to be talking about NBA and NFL again. And we'll cover those two things and see how far we get. We're going to breeze through as much as we can so we can cover a lot of ground. And so we're going to jump right in and cover the Northwest Division today of the NBA. So, with that in mind, let me share my screen. Dustin and I bounce back and forth between covering the NBA. Dustin started last week, so I'm going to start do three of them here. We're going to start with the Denver Nuggets, who went 50-32 this year, good for second in the Northwest. They won the first round against the Clippers in 7 games, lost to the eventual champion Thunder in 7 games in the semifinals as well. You can see really good on offense, fourth in offense, third in points per game, bad on defense, 25th in points allowed, 22nd in defense. So that could be their struggles. They did lead the league in assists, 31 per game. Nikola Jokic was phenomenal. He became one of those few members of the club that averaged a triple double throughout an entire season. 29.6 points, 12.7 rebounds, 10.2 assists per game over an entire season. I don't know if Dustin knows how many people have done that. I know it's been Oscar Robertson, Russell Westbrook. That's the list as far as I know, and Nikola Jokic. So
yeah, I think
uh,
so.
that's a pretty exclusive list. And then you see Jamal Murray, 21 points. Aaron Gordon played really, really well in the playoffs, in particular. Uh, Michael Porter Jr. will no longer be with this team next year. I can't remember which team he signed with, but Nets, I think, maybe.
Yes, the
Uh,
net.
yeah, and so he's gone. His 18.2 points are gone. Christian Brown played really well as well. Looking at these backups here, Russell Westbrook was cut, I believe. Is that right? Or did he retire, or what? I can't. It's something with Russell Westbrook.
He didn't retire. Um, I don't know if he's made up his mind on where he's playing next season. I don't know if he was cut or what.
Yeah,
But
I'll have to look at that again. I thought there was something there, but he played really well. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. That's pretty good numbers for someone coming off the bench there. Uh, Obviously, we talked about it in length during a podcast, but Michael Malone being fired with 4 games left in the regular season, or 3 games left, really. David Adelman took over. He did go 3-0 to finish the season, and then 7-7 in the playoffs. Won a 7-game series and then lost a 7-game series, and so pretty good. Uh, I haven't heard if anything has been announced here. Actually, has Adelman been named the head coach permanently?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. I, I thought that was the case, but I hadn't heard anything different, and so uh,
Yeah,
that's
I think taking the defending champs to 7 games wins you the job.
but that's the Nuggets. So, any comments about how the Nuggets did this season, or what they need to do next year?
I just
Work on
love
the
that
defense.
guy's name is Popeye.
Yeah, Popeye Jones.
It's not, I don't know if that's his real name.
Okay, thanks.
So the Nuggets had a great season. Like, they won the title a couple years ago, and they've gotten close these last couple of years. And then they made some significant changes, especially with MPJ moving on. But they've got their core, and they've got the best player in the world. I think that, yeah, it's the GM's job to kind of fiddle with things in order to get them back to that high level of competition. I mean, sorry. Yeah, so I'm not too concerned about the Nuggets falling off. They're going to be top team in the West again, and they're going to be there for many years to come.
Anything else, Nancy?
No arguments for me. I hope Dustin's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and then I guess on Jokic, like, should he have won MVP? Probably, but that doesn't mean that SGA was undeserving. They're both undeserving, and got to give it. Only somebody has to get it. Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose.
He definitely deserved it, but that doesn't mean that someone else didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, Dustin, take it away.
Minnesota Timberwolves ended up in the third in the Northwest and sixth in the Western Conference. Had a very good season, not quite as good as the year before, but still very good season. Then especially, incredible playoff run what they did here and beating the Lakers in 5, and then Golden State in 5, then OKC in 5, and obviously they have one of the best players in the world in Anthony Edwards. He's super young, super athletic, incredible scorer. He's going to be a staple in the league for years to come. And then Rudy Gobert holding that down in the paint. But the best addition was Julius Randle. Him bringing over almost 19 points there. It was an incredible addition to the team. On the bench, Naz Reid, 6th Man of the Year a year ago. Fantastic follow-up season to that. And then Dante DiVincenzo was a hero of one of the playoff series. Fantastic player. Chris Finch, in his 5th season. I hope that they give him a few more. It takes so much work. He's gotten this team to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. He's been the second best team in the Western Conference 2 years in a row, and that's got to account for something. Fantastic coach, fantastic team.
Yeah, you never know about the NBA these days when the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau, but I would hope the same, that Chris Finch gets a few more years, because great young core with Anthony Edwards, and this team, may not ever really be the best in the Western Conference, but they're going to be right there at the end every year for the next 3 years.
So I guess, talking about Chris Finch, how many years do you have to try? I think about Greg Popovich. So he was hired in like 97, I think, and stepped down in 2024. Right. So we're talking about 27 years. He got to the finals 6 times in those 27 years. Right. That's lower than 25%. He won 5 of those, and winning 1 is hard enough, but less than a 25% rate there.
I think if you space it right, though, it looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, when you win 3 in 5 years, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, that'll help pad your record for anybody.
Anything else from Cody or Yancey on the Timberwolves?
That picture of Corliss Williamson looks like you took it. Like you just stopped him at a school. You're like, Corliss, hey. Caught him real quick.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna say, I mean, this is probably the only team where I know, about 60% of the starting lineup, which is interesting. I know Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, and the other guy. I forgot his name.
40%.
But I know him. Hey, does that work on a test? Can you just tell the teacher, like, no, I know 99% of the stuff. And then you miss 3 questions in a row, and you're like, no, but like the other ones that you were going to ask.
I knew it was A, B, C, or D.
Yeah, all the options were there. It's just whether or not I picked the right one.
Yeah. Between me and my brother, we know everything, and that's one he knows.
I like that one, yes. Anyway, I was just
Okay. Austin, I'll let you take these, and I'll take the next two.
All right, Oklahoma City Thunder, NBA champs. Oh, franchise record 68 games won. That would closing in on history. 5 games away from history. Fantastic, incredible season. Obviously, first everything, and then they came out in that first round super strong and swept Memphis. Denver took them to 7, beat Minnesota handily, and then Indiana took them to 7. But looking at these stats, 4th in points per game, 3rd in defense, 1st in turnovers, and turnovers for forced, right? So not so great in turnovers, but they picked that up with almost a +6 on forcing turnovers.
No, they're best at not turning over the
Oh,
ball.
best
and
at
best
turning the ball over, and the best at forcing turnovers from the other side, right? Sorry, thank you for that. So yeah, absolutely, for a team this young, an average age of like 23 or something like that, they were incredibly disciplined. First free throw, 3rd in offense, 1st in defense. Historic championship team. They have the MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 32 points a game. And then fantastic follow-ups from Jalen Williams, especially Lou Dort as well. And then Isaiah Hartenstein was a fantastic addition, and I don't think that they could have won the title without him. From the bench, Chet Holmgren, who would be the starter, but sat out about 60 games there and was absolutely pivotal in their title run. But when I said they probably couldn't have won without Isaiah, I will say they most definitely would not have won a title without Alex Caruso. That man was the spark plug that got them through the playoffs. Absolutely one of my favorite players. He's the Bald Mamba. That's his nickname. He's fantastic. Love that guy. Love to watch him play. The probably top 5 best defender in the league. Mark Daigneault. He was a G League coach for years, worked his way through the ranks, and now got himself a title in his 5th year with OKC. And he's going to be around for a while for sure.
It's really satisfying to finally see the Thunder win a championship. I was cheering against them this year, which is really not usually like me, because I was cheering for the Nuggets, my hometown team right now, to win against them, and then I really just like the Pacers story. But I'm happy with the Thunder winning a championship. Like I'm a fan of the Thunder as well, and so it was really fun to see that. And they're going to be around for a while. These 3 teams that we've talked about, the Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Thunder, you can pretty easily put them as the top 3 teams in the West, not just this division, but the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, a really dominant performance kind of throughout the season shown by the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're not exactly my favorite team, but it's hard, unless you hate them, it's hard not to like their level of performance, and just their ability to play basketball at a high level altogether. It takes teamwork to lead in every single category like that. So just absolutely impressive, the way they were able to get through the season. I felt like Indiana had a really good chance, and barring that injury to Halliburton, we'll never know. But way to put a cap on it for Oklahoma City, and they're going to be a contender next year, I'm sure. So I have to agree with you guys there.
Yeah.
I don't have anything.
So there's 3 really great teams, and then I get to talk about 2 really not great teams, really bad teams. Starting with the Portland Trailblazers, technically 36-46. It's mediocre. You wouldn't call it necessarily awful, but winning 36 games there, but 23rd in offense is not very good. They were okay on defense, right around the middle of the pack. Toumani Camara actually was an all defensive performer. 11 points per game, not great, but he did 1.5 steals, 0.6 blocks per game. He got an all defensive mention. And he took over starting center when DeAndre Ayton was injured and then out and everything. And so Tamani Kamara is one to mention. Denny Avdia, 16.9 points and 7.3 rebounds. Shaden Sharp and Anthony Simons both played really well as well. You look at across the board there; those are pretty good numbers from the starting five. It's when you get down here that you didn't get a whole lot of help from your bench. Scoot Henderson is the one guy that I'd mentioned there that gave them some life off the bench. Donovan Clingan was named to an all-rookie team. Remember, he was the dominant guy for UConn when they won a national championship game. 7'2", 280 pounds, just a monster down there. And he was really good in the NBA too, just on a limited basis because he's coming off the bench. DeAndre Ayton moved on. He's now in LA. But you can see he played well when he did play. 14 points, 10 rebounds, 1 block a game. But he's in LA now. Chauncey Billups, he's lost almost 100 more games than he's won as a head coach. This is his 4th season. I think in some ways he gets a pass for being a Hall of Fame player. And the reason that he hasn't been fired at this point. But, you know, that it may not be too much longer. Any thoughts about the Blazers?
I think that they're exactly what you'd expect them to be. You know, they're a mediocre team. They did a full reset a few years ago, and they're just in the middle of that rebuild. And so, you know, people complain about their teams. You know, their hometown team's not doing well. People are going to continue to do that in Portland, but they've made the decision to rebuild, and what can you say about it?
Yeah, Portland, I think they're missing that one guy that can get them 25 points a game, you know? And I think Barnes is kind of where you expect him to be that guy, and he's just under that. Or not Barnes, I'm sorry, Anthony Simmons. And it probably used to be Barnes. But I think that's what they're really missing, because otherwise they got a good supporting cast, like a decent supporting cast. But I agree with Dustin that they're kind of a middle of the road team until they put that stuff together.
I would say that I would turn up the heat quite a bit on coach this season. Honestly say if you don't make the playoffs, you're fired.
So I was just looking that up, Cody. So Chauncey Billups going into his 5th season is now where did I see it just now? He is now the 8th longest serving NBA head coach current. 5 years, and there's only 7 people who have been coaching their teams longer than that.
That's insane. You're allowed to just be a loser and get paid millions of dollars to be a loser for almost longer than anybody else doing your job?
I'd see it as the other way in that.
I do see it as the other way too. Yeah.
There's 23, you know, what is it? Yeah, I mean, there's 21 guys, some of which are making the playoffs, some of which are a better coach than him that their team didn't have the patience for. You know, most of the coaches, most of these teams, most of the coaches, their teams didn't have patience with. So go Blazers. Way to go. Keep it going.
Yeah, make it 300.
Okay. Lastly, we get to literally the worst team in the league, Utah Jazz. They were 30th, the worst defensive team in the NBA, allowing the most number of points and the worst defense. They were also turned the ball over the most and turned over the other teams the fewest. So, like the Thunder did the exact opposite, the Jazz did the worst of both of those. So, when you get into that, you look at you had three pretty good players here. Laurie Markkinen is always a good player. Colin Sexton had a good year. Um, Keontae George, second year out of Baylor there, had a good rookie season and followed up with a pretty good, solid season. But you just don't have the start, and that's the problem. Ever since Donovan Mitchell left, Walker Kessler gets a lot of blocks though, 2.4 per game. And then John Collins, technically says he's a bench player is because he was injured for half the season, just about. But when he did play, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, shot well from 3. He's a good player. He's probably in a starting lineup. Jordan Clarkson is just a go out there for 6 minutes and get me 14 points. That's what he does. But they don't have a whole lot of other talent on this roster. They're a really young team. They're rebuilding. Will Hardy, that head coach, he has double the amount of losses as wins right now, and so obviously that's a tough thing. And so my question, as we get into this analysis, we know Danny Ainge took over this team, and he did. He's trying to do what he did in Boston, which was obviously turn over a bunch of the roster, get a bunch of draft picks, and build that team from the ground up. You got to wonder at this point, when you've gone from bad and rather than improve, you've tanked all the way down to 30th. Is it no longer working in Utah? Do you got to worry about what Danny Ainge is doing? Is it just not a big enough market that you can't get that stuff from Boston anymore?
So I think that this was the expected very bottom of the curve. They traded all their guys away a few years ago. They've gotten some good picks out of it. They got a few more picks over the next few years out of it, and so this is exactly where you'd expect to be, at the very bottom of the league at this point. The Celtics, it was a quick turnaround. It took them just a couple of years to get to top level again. Thunder, it took them a few years, and so if it works, then let's talk about this again in 4 years. That's how long it took the Thunder to become a powerhouse, was 4 years. It took the Celtics, I think, only 2 years, maybe 3. And so let's answer your question in 4 years.
Let me ask this question now. Will the Jazz have patience to have Will Hardy in 4 years? Oh.
The Thunder did with Daigneault. The Celtics did not.
Right.
They technically they hired Brad Stevens, but then they let him go before the title run. So technically, no. So I mean, I would say probably not. I think that they get back to playoff caliber and then bring in a more tenured, more experienced head coach. Someone like Doc Rivers.
Okay.
Wait. You have to get basically the All USA team there first, so that way he can tell them not to win any games.
Yeah.
Anything else about the Jazz?
Good luck.
Let's see where I was, because I'm not sure where I'm taking over here. So, unfortunately, I'm showing you everything. Okay. Starting with the Dallas Cowboys, and I believe I assigned. I didn't send you your assignments. They were a little bit different this year.
We're still seeing basketball.
Yep, I'm still
But I
seeing
think I'm
basketball
going
too.
to send. Oh, you're still seeing basketball. Okay, that's a good thing, because I showed you everything first. So at least not anymore. Okay. Oh, you should be seeing the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. Cody, I actually assigned you the Cowboys.
Oh,
So
you really don't like me that much, huh? Just kidding. No, I'm kidding. All right.
it was an algorithm.
What's that?
It was an algorithm of making sure that each. It doesn't matter. It was an algorithm.
So the Cowboys last season sucked. They were 7-10, third in the NFC East. Of course, they were better than the Giants. Everyone is. And they were just not great. 21st in offensive points. Basically, almost last in defensive. So their best thing was probably turnovers forced. They were 8th, so that's pretty good in most things. That's probably mostly Michael Parsons too. Key losses. Let's see here. Brandon Cooks is a big loss. Marcus Lawrence is a loss. Cooper Rush, he was a good backup for them. Zeke is a good thing that they lost him again. Good, he can walk out of there. I'll point those out. Additions. So Dante Fowler. They got George Pickens. Pretty good group here, in my opinion. Miles Sanders is a good running back. I think Kyer Alam is. Not sure if I even said that right, but I think he's actually a decent cornerback. Not the best in the league, of course, but he is decent in my opinion. Draft. So first, of course, they took Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama, 12th overall. Very good offensive lineman. Jaden Blue, running back, came from Texas. He should be pretty electric. Yeah. Coaching. So they fired. Oh boy, now I'm forgetting his name. Thank you, McCarthy, and they brought in Brian Schottenheimer, who is his offensive coordinator. And I guess I won't say anything yet. But Matt Eberflus is the defensive coordinator there now as well. Then Clayton Adams. I actually don't know who that is. That's the first time I've heard his name. So he'll be the offensive coordinator for them. So here's what their offense looks like. We got Dak under center again. CeeDee Lamb, of course, is the star receiver there. And they got George Pickens and Javonte Williams.
They have 3 guys named Tyler on the offensive line.
That's right, they do. Defense. I've got to point out Michael Parsons. He's the star of that defense. Trevon Diggs is really good in the past, still pretty well now. Overall, a pretty good defense. DeMarvin Overshown's really good as well.
I'd point out Donovan Ezeraku, the defensive end, the rookie out of Boston College. He was one of the leaders in the country in sacks, and he fell in the second round. I think he is a legitimate defensive rookie of the year candidate. So let me make my way to the schedule here.
So they will start out on. Is it really? I thought it was Thursday Night Football. I thought Baltimore and Bills were the first game of the season. But
I think that no.
Okay, all right.
Nope, this one's the first game of the season because it's the defending champs.
Must be the first.
That one is a Friday game. That's the Friday game.
Oh, Friday. Oh, because it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they've got quite a bit of prime time, and that's because they're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. So discussion. You want me to go over here, Cody, to look at these, and we don't have to spend much time over here.
Okay.
But you probably don't see it, do you? Because I have to keep.
Yeah, you drag it onto your screen.
I don't. Don't worry about it. I'll we can just bring up whatever we want. I guess I'll start. I mean, there are several things I could talk about, but to keep it short, I'm going to start with Brian Schottenheimer first. I don't. Maybe he's going to do great. Obviously we don't know until halfway through the season how they're doing. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I don't think he was the smartest offensive mind, and it just doesn't compute to me. So I'm curious on how you guys think about that. And sometimes you don't have to be the smartest offensive mind to be a good head coach. So maybe that'll be the case here. But that was something that Jerry decided to go with, and he's sticking with. So any thoughts on that, or if anything else you want to bring up, we can do that too.
Well, Shoddy is his own offensive coordinator, really. I brought up the screen with Clayton Adams. The guy's just a name. Like, he's not going to call the plays. Shoddy's going to call his own plays. And so he is his own offensive coordinator, and that's going to be a little interesting, I think. Obviously, I think the reason Shoddy was hired and not someone more experienced was because no one else could be convinced to be under, be Jerry's puppet. Uh, and so Jerry Jones wanted someone that could be pliable, and he could do what he wanted to do with his own personal fantasy football team here. That's what he wants, and and so I'm being really harsh on Jerry, but that's I just don't think I I hope I'm proved wrong because I like Brian Schottenheimer, the guy. I love his dad. I love Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach for a lot of years, and so I'd like to see him do well. But I just don't think that this was hired for football mind. I think it was hired because Jerry Jones couldn't find another guy that he could hire to be his puppet.
I think maybe Jerry Jones was trying to relate to, some of his players by listening to, a lot of millennial music, and then just got into his head that Shoddy was the right one.
Shoddy. Shut up, Dustin. Ridiculous. I got my Shoddy. Now we ready to win a Super Bowl. Shining and grinding.
I think my comment would be that, it's a risky move because the Cowboys struggled on offense last year, and so what do you see there? But perhaps he has leadership qualities that the team saw beyond just play calling and thought that he was the best one for the opportunity.
Yeah, I don't care for the Cowboys. I hope they fail miserably, so we'll see what happens.
And I'll pull up the actual document after we go through all the slides. How about that? I think it'll be easier that way rather than go back and forth. So Dustin, I've assigned you the New York Giants.
All right. New York Giants had one of the most abysmal seasons in football history last year. Not only of the way they played, but also because of the way that Philadelphia played, letting and that honestly reflected so poorly on them, and also their hard knock stuff and all of that. So they had a very tough season both on the football field and on the TV screen. Key losses. I think Jason Pinnock is one, but I don't think I'll call out any others here. But they had some key gains.
Yeah.
So, obviously, lots of different gains here. Chauncey Golston there, but I think that, the biggest one would be Russell Wilson. And then also, of course, Jameis Winston, who's just a character there. So, Russell Wilson, obviously, that's the biggest addition. He's got the reins. In the draft, they took Abdul Carter as a linebacker to try to shore up that defense, and then also took Jackson Dart as another quarterback. So they brought 3 new quarterbacks in. And then
also point out Cam Skattebo.
Cam Skattebo had one of the greatest seasons in NCAA history. Fantastic player at Arizona State, and so hopefully he can have the opportunity to make a big impact here with over 20 touchdowns.
Look at those numbers: 1,700 yards and 21 touchdowns last year with Arizona State.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think about 800 of those were on Utah.
Brian Daboll. Giants are giving him another chance. This is, I would say, for sure his last season, unless he wins Coach of the Year again. But, as I just saw, 21st in turnovers, 28th in turnovers forced, 21st in penalties. Those are very poor. Got Shane Bowen and Mike Kafka there helping him out. On the offense, Russell Wilson is going to get a starting nod, and there'll be some shared duties on running back between Tyrone Tracy and Cam Skattebo. Malik Neighbors is the star there, a fantastic player, and so it's going to be up to Wilson and Kafka to coordinate an offense that gets him the ball in places that gets him in the touchdown and not in the locker room. On defense, Sexy Dexy is a big one. He's one of the best players there. But then they also have Okereke. He's a good one. Anybody else you want to call out?
Obviously, Abdul Carter, that first round pick,
Yeah.
considered the best prospect in the draft. Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland both coming over from new additions to shore up that secondary. And Brian Burns is a good player as well.
Fine. That's good.
Good. So here with their schedule, got a couple of primetime games. But other than that, I think a few things is, of course, they got to play Philadelphia twice, and have a couple of hard games in there, but also a couple of easier ones, you know. So I think it's a fairly balanced schedule. Ball's in their court. It's wide open. That's a generous rating, 70.5.
Agreed. This New York team reminds me of the next to winless Miami Dolphin team that took forever to get good, and I think that that's what we're going to see again since they were also next to winless. I think it's going to be a minute. I don't. That's hard to recover from. I don't think you just come back the next season and stack together, 8, 9, 10 wins. I don't see that happening at all. I think they're going to suffer before it gets better.
Yeah, I see him improving on 3 wins, but not drastically. I see maybe 5 or 6 this year. Uh, that's probably about it. I think this is a more talented team than you think sometimes. I think they have a lot of talent around them. Malik Neighbors is really good. I think they've drafted really well in the last couple of drafts. Got a really good rookies, and so they're a young team, but I think they're a promising team. They're just obviously in the toughest division in the NFL right now, so that's a tough place to be.
I think the new parts that they added, other than Malik, like Russell Wilson is going to be a suck on your money, and he's not going to really do a whole lot for you. And so I think that that's, I don't know. I agree with you that they are putting good young talent in place, but I don't think that it's going to be enough to improve them to where we're talking about the Giants. You know what I mean? That's all.
Yeah, I just agree with Scott. I don't think they're improving past 6 wins.
Dustin, anything to finish us up?
I'm thinking just Jameis Winston, put him in front of a microphone as much as you possibly can,
Yeah.
and behind the center as least as you possibly can. And I think that's your key.
Just mic him up on the sideline. So.
Yeah. He'll just sit there. The horses are ready for battle.
There you go. Eat the W's. Eat the W's.
Yeah.
Okay. Yancey, I've given you the Eagles.
Sweet. We get to talk about a good team. 14-3 had the best record in the NFC East. The returning Super Bowl champions really just kind of put a whooping on Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Sorry, Dustin. The best rushing team, Saquon Barkley, just absolutely showing his butt this year. That reverse hurdle that's going to be on Madden 26. Just a lot of good stuff for Philly this year. Losing Darius Slay, Gardner Johnson. Anybody else you guys want to point out that's super important?
Brandon Graham retired after a long season, or long career, I mean. Just
Gotcha.
call him out.
Key additions, Prater from Chicago. Let's see. Dorian Thompson Robinson, I guess.
Quarterback.
Yeah, the quarterback, but I don't even know who that is, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, they didn't add much starters here. I think Kenyon Green steps into a starting on that big offensive line. Adoree Jackson will play on the secondary, and Aziz Ojolari will play on the linebackers. Avery Williams will return kicks. Other than that, these are all backups.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of filler. Let's see. Not sure I see any huge names that jump out at me. Ryland, I think, from Virginia Tech. And definitely Campbell from Alabama.
Yeah, Jihad Campbell.
Anybody else want to give a shout out to any of these players coming in?
I mean, they drafted Kyle McCord, who led the country in passing yards last year. Uh, Obviously, he's a developmental quarterback taken in the 6th round, but he was he was worth a flyer in late round, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed to be kind of. I mean, those numbers are kind of nasty, especially considering he was at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni coming back, Vic Fangio, and Kevin Patullo. Um, this is Kevin's first season as offensive coordinator, it looks like. Anything you guys want to add about these guys?
Sirianni, 5 seasons, 5 playoff appearances, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and 1 title. So,
Impressive.
yeah. Justin, you went
Dustin
mute.
muted.
Sorry. They lost Kellen Moore, who was the offensive coordinator, right? And so, see how Patullo does coming in to fill that spot. But Kellen Moore is and has been, one of the best offensive coordinators in the league for many years. And fully deserving of his head coach position. He's with the Saints, I think. But so I think that's something that needs to be talked about for sure. He's a brand new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So the offense didn't really change a whole lot. The stars being A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and of course Saquon Barkley. Dallas Carter played well. I don't know if there's anybody else you guys want to shout out.
Just want to shout out once again on that offensive line. They lost Mekhi Becton, who was that massive right guard, and they bring in Kenyon Green to replace him. He's the only new addition on that whole starting offense.
Nice.
And he's so much smaller. He's probably only like 6'2", 300.
Yeah, he's a little bigger than that, I think. But yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not as big as Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton's probably the biggest guy in the NFL. So 6'7", 380, something like that. So, but Kenyon Green's big too.
On the defense, looks like they kept most of who they had last year. Mabuka, he's going to be new, right?
Those 2 rookies in there, Jihad Campbell from Alabama, Andrew Makuba from Texas. They should both start from day one there. Jalen Carter, he could have won the Super Bowl MVP by himself. He just destroyed that offensive line at Kansas City.
Cooper DeJean played really well. He was super impressive. Zach Bond, really good. Is anybody else you guys want to point out?
Cooper DeJean's the only white corner in the league in like 20 years.
Crushing it.
There's a couple others right now, but yeah, he's one of about 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think pretty much every single person on this defense is a star. At least has the potential to be. It's a really good defense.
On over to the schedule. Look at that second week at the end of the season. We get a Super Bowl rematch.
That should be good to see. This looks like kind of some rough games. Dallas, they should be able to manage, but then Kansas City, LA, Tampa Bay, and well, Denver unfortunately sucks. But that run of three will be important to see how they handle that.
I'm surprised that the Super Bowl champion is only an 84.5, Scott.
I think that's the highest of any team I gave out. Yeah.
No team's above a mid B. All right.
I think, yeah, I just added up. I did 10 categories of out of 10, and some. So not every category is great for every team. Like special teams isn't maybe that great for Philadelphia, for example, and that's part of it. So
Yeah. See the curve. That 84.5 is the 100, right? Because they're the best.
yeah, right, yes.
Gotcha.
So I like Cody's question from the preview though. That how do you stop this team?
Yeah, I think they got a lot of weapons, and I look forward to see how they play next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that to stop this offense and to stop Nick Sirianni's offensive mind, um, you got to have a lot of luck, I think, on your side too. But you've just, I mean, I'm not really sure. You just got to be, I guess, Steve Spagnuolo and to try harder than you did. I don't know. It's like you just got to prepare the heck out of it and try not to have any injuries and just be the best and healthy team you can and hope a little bit of luck's on your side. I mean, every team makes mistakes. You definitely want to stop Saquon Barkley, but you also want to get to the quarterback too. So it's that they have a very, very potent, challenging offense.
I think my answer is spies and blitzes. Is that you have your linebackers. One of them follows Barkley on every play. The other one follows Hurts on every play. And that's your spy and blitz there, and try to force him to be more one dimensional, knowing that he can't dump it off to Barkley because you got a linebacker shadowing him, and so he's got to throw it down the field, and that's what you're forcing him into.
I kind of agree with that. That the best thing that the Eagles do is run the ball, and so you want to, even though they're good at passing the ball too, that's what you want to force them to do to try to beat you. Because if they get to run the ball the way they want to, they're going to beat you.
Yeah, gotta agree there.
Cool. Last one, the Washington Commanders. What a great story they had last year. 12-5, their best record in more than 30 years in Washington, winning 12 games and going all the way to the NFC Championship game. On the way, they shellacked Detroit in the divisional game, to everyone's surprise, and then lost to Philadelphia in a pretty lopsided game there in the NFC Championship game. But some of their key losses, Jonathan Allen is a big loss up front, even though he was injured for a lot of last year. But he makes that defensive line go. Bringing in Javon Kinlaw to replace him. Deebo Samuel is a big addition, obviously, from San Francisco. Jonathan Jones at corner. Laramie Tunsil, the great left tackle from the Texans, comes in over there. And Matt Gay, the new kicker over there. The NFL draft, they took a offensive tackle with their first pick. He's going to sit behind Laramie Tunsil for a year. But Jalen Lane was just a do everything kind of guy, running the ball, catching the ball, returning kicks. He's probably going to return kicks here for Washington this year. That's going to be his primary job. Dan Quinn, in my opinion, should have won Coach of the Year. The way that he turned around this team, he took the team that won 4 games the year before, turned them around to win 12 the very next year. When he took over, what he did is nothing less of stellar in Washington. and a lot of that goes to him. A lot of that goes to the offensive mind of Cliff Kingsbury. He may not have been a great head coach in Arizona, but he is a great offensive mind and a great offensive coordinator, and there in Washington. The offense, Jaden Daniels, what a season he had. He was a rookie, but never looked like it. He played like a veteran the whole time. Won Offensive Rookie of the Year by a landslide. And you got Laramie Tunsil and Debo Samuel there. You got the two backs in the backfield. Terry McLaurin just asked for a trade today. And so I don't know if that's going to fall through or if it's going to go through, but that's a big issue if he gets traded away. On the defensive front there, Daron Payne, Javon Kinlaw, Bobby Wagner refuses to age. The guy's like 35 years old, and the Seahawks left him for dead 3 years ago, and he's had 3 All-Pro seasons since. So that's whatever. Marshawn Lattimore, Jonathan Jones, Mike Sanders, still pretty good defensive backs there. And the schedule, obviously, with what they did, they're going to have a lot of prime time as well. They have a Christmas Day game against the Cowboys. They also get to play in Santiago, Chile against Miami. We talked about that last week. But it's a fairly, other than playing in Kansas City for Monday Night Football, I would say it's a fairly balanced and easier than you would expect schedule for Washington to be able to go through that. They get some of the easier teams with Atlanta and Las Vegas. And so, yeah, I would say fairly balanced. And so the discussion here for Washington is my question that I'll pose to all of you, and it was my question in the preview, is now that they're not sneaking up on anybody like they did last year, no one expected that they were going to do what they did. What's a realistic encore that we can expect from the Commanders?
I think my answer to that question is being able to repeat. This is not a team I expect to win 15 games. They have great thing, and so you can't expect them to, especially like you said with the target there, to build off of that. I think they're still too young to do that, but I think that they can win 12 games again, maybe 11. I think they could be a playoff team again, and I think that they can probably get into the second round. But I think that that's probably the most realistic encore. I'm afraid that what's going to happen is that Jane Daniels will get injured in week 2, and the team kind of falls apart, and unfortunately all these wonderful talent moves get wasted as the team goes 7-10.
I hope not. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Dustin are kind of in a similar camp there. I think when we were talking, Scott, would I give them 9 games or something? I don't think they win too much more than that, and we'll see a bit of a backslide from where they were.
I think barring any injuries, because I think we can all agree if there's some significant injuries to any team that can really bring them down. So barring any injuries, I think that realistically we can expect maybe about 11 wins. So something similar, a little less. Best case scenario is 13. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah. And to answer my own question, I do expect a slight backslide just because they have a target on their backs now. So I don't think they're going to hit 12 wins, but this is a good football team. And so don't discount that. This is a playoff team, in my opinion. And so do they the floor, as long as everyone stays healthy, the floor for me is 10 wins. 10 or 11 wins probably. I could see them winning 9 to 11 wins. Take a slight backslide, but not too far. They're not going to win this division. Philadelphia's too good. But... Okay, and I didn't get all of your. I didn't get Cody and Dustin's fill-ins here. I got Yancey in mine, obviously, but
yeah. I put mine into the document like 5 minutes before the call.
So why don't you tell me right now? Is it safe to say that both of you have the Eagles winning this division?
Yes.
I was gonna say Giants. No I'm kidding. Yeah, of course.
Okay. And who's in second place? Either one of
Cowboys are in number 2.
you here.
I mean, yeah, Washington. Yes, yeah. Sorry, Washington.
And then who's in third?
Washington.
I'm actually gonna say Giants. I'm going with the Yancey there.
All right, so Dustin and Yancey are identical there, or Cody and Yancey. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry.
Hey, Joe, let me call you right
Uh,
back. I'm
Dustin
wrapping
and
up
I
this
are a little bit
podcast right now.
different,
No problem.
from
All
the
right,
rest
I'll
of
be
you
calling you back in like 2
and from
minutes.
each other.
Take your time.
The common thread, obviously, is just like last week. We all had the Bills winning that division. We all have the Eagles winning this one. So it's the common thread.
I think I said it in my comments on the Cowboys. Like, if the Cowboys' goal is to win the Super Bowl this year, then the same thing that's going to happen the last 30 years is going to happen again. You know, they're going to go 8-9 and they're going to miss the playoffs. But if they set realistic expectations of we're going to be the second best team in the division and our target is the Commanders, that we're going to be better than the Commanders, then I think that's completely realistic for the Cowboys. And so that's why I put that there is hoping that the team looks at realistic goals versus we're America's team, we're going to win the Super Bowl.
With the last, I know we're 2 minutes over, but I'm just going to show this real quick. I have to stop share. I remember I have to do that now. Because I promised that I would share it today. These are the questions from the Cowboys. I don't think I'm going to share long enough for us to really read them, but Cody asked, when will Jerry realize that Dak is not the answer? And we had a lot of consensus that he can't afford anybody else. So good luck. Pam, is this the year that we finally get peace in the fact that we don't get to hear, we don't have to hear this is our year? And I haven't heard that this year on social media as much as I did last year. So, but I think we will hear it as some of the season goes on. And then I did ask that question: what constitutes success this season? And you all, Dustin, you just talked about that just now. So, if they're shooting for the sun, then they're going to get burned. So, the Giants. Dustin asks, with Russell Wilson taking the snaps, which of the skilled players around him are going to have the best season? And unanimously, everyone said Malik Neighbors, by the way. So, Dad asked Saquon Barkley, what went wrong in New York? And was it really that bad? The unanimous answer, yeah, it was really that bad. So, and then Cody, what are we looking at here? It's a puzzle piece. And what's the glue? Mostly we said the glue has to be the coaching staff, has to be Brian Daboll, and no, it will not hold, Cody. This is Brian Daboll's final year in New York. Eagles, Yancey, what is it going to take for the Eagles to have the sustained and continued success? Dustin says, recognize you have a target on your back, consistency on the offense, keep relying on the run game. My dad asks, if the injury bug bites, which position or player will be most costly to lose? We only had myself and Yancey answer this question, but I said Saquon, and Yancey said Jalen Hurts. Cody, just like last year, we asked this question: how can you stop the Eagles? And lastly, I'm sorry that I'm not giving you your own questions, but I wanted to get through these. I hope this is okay that I'm doing it this way. But for the Commanders, I asked that question in our preview. Pam asked, are Debo's best days behind him? And pretty much we said yes. But I liked my dad's answer. He said, to be fair, his mediocre is still pretty darn good. So,
Facts.
And then Dustin asked, what does the running game need to look like to relieve the pressure? And it's a good question. They need to keep the pressure off of the high average, says Yancey. It needs to be a run-first offense and take pressure off of Jaden Daniels pretty much across the board. That's kind of the answer there. Again, that was a really quick fly through that. I didn't give you the chance to ask those, but I hope that was okay that I did it that way. Okay. Next week, we will be looking at the Central Division of the NBA and the AFC North. So prepare for those. And sorry, Cody, eventually we will get to your PTI, I promise.
I'll have to open one of these shows with it.
I was gonna say I'll just put it in the calendar for November.
For November. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, since we've gone to an hour, it kind of makes things. But I thought we got through a lot in an hour today. What do you
Yeah,
guys
we
think?
did.
Okay.
No.
Well, we will talk to you guys later, and thanks for a good discussion today.
Good pod.
Indeed. Later, boys.